All right, so you want to get inside the mind of Red,
Mm-hmm.
the silent Pokemon champion, who's practically a myth among trainers.
Yeah.
Buckle up, because this is one deep dive where the journey's as interesting as the destination.
Oh, like,
I'm already seeing mentions of games, rivals, even run-ins with Team Rocket.
and that's what's so fascinating about Red.
Right?
These excerpts you've provided,
Yeah.
they offer us like a fragmented look at his life.
Right.
Like we're piecing together a legend
Wow.
from scattered scrolls.
Really?
Begs the question, who is Red after those credits roll?
Okay, let's unpack that.
Okay.
We're not just talking about beating the Elite Four here, but understanding what makes Red tick.
Right.
And right away, I noticed this puzzle regarding Red and Blue's rivalry. Like,
a puzzle indeed.
yeah.
The instruction manuals hint that
Yeah.
Red's Pokemon journey began almost as a defense mechanism against Blue's bullying.
Oh.
But then you have Professor Oak reminiscing about them
Right.
being rivals since infancy.
Yeah.
So which is it?
Yeah, it makes you wonder if Oak, being older, remembers it differently.
Right.
You know, maybe he's romanticizing their past a bit,
Yeah.
creating a more compelling narrative for the new trainers.
It's a fascinating possibility. It speaks to how stories, even historical ones,
Yeah.
can be shaped by the teller.
Yeah.
What we're seeing here is a potential parallel within the Pokemon world itself, the subjectivity of memory and how it influences the way stories are told.
And that makes you question everything.
Right.
Yeah. If
Exactly.
Oak's version is skewed, what else might be different? It adds this whole other layer to their rivalry.
Absolutely.
Right.
And it speaks to the power dynamics at play.
Oh, wow.
Oak is this esteemed authority figure,
Right.
while Red and Blue are just starting out,
Yeah.
whose version of history holds more weight,
Right.
whose perspective shapes the narrative.
Man, I never thought about it like that. This is getting deep.
It is.
And it makes those moments where Red pushes himself further,
Uh-huh.
especially his post-game isolation, even more intriguing.
Right.
Is he running to something or from something?
Precisely.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder if his relentless pursuit of Pokemon mastery
Right.
is driven by an internal need to prove himself,
Okay.
perhaps a consequence of those early experiences with Blue.
So his drive could stem from those early days.
Yeah.
Even if we don't know the exact truth about their rivalry,
Right.
it adds a whole new level of complexity.
It does.
Especially because we never actually hear Red speak in the games.
Right.
It's that whole silent protagonist thing.
A brilliant narrative device, really,
Yeah.
by not giving Red a voice.
Right.
The games allow you, the player,
Yeah.
to inhabit his journey more fully.
Right.
But when you're digging into his character like this,
Okay.
that silence becomes a puzzle itself.
It's like, how do you get inside the head of a guy who never reveals his thoughts?
Exactly.
It reminds me of that one line.
Uh-huh.
He presumably remains there for 3 years.
Yeah.
Talking about Mount Silver for
Right.
years.
Yeah.
He's basically a Pokemon hermit, but we don't know why.
And that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? What's going on in Red's head during those years of solitude?
Yeah.
Is he seeking solace in his Pokemon? Or
Right.
is he battling some inner demons we can only guess at?
Wow.
The excerpts mention his encounter with Team Rocket,
Right.
a harrowing experience for anyone,
Oh, yeah.
let alone a young trainer.
Whoa. You think facing down a criminal organization could have messed him up?
It's possible.
I mean, that's some serious trauma, right?
Yeah.
Could that be why he isolates himself?
Yeah.
Even from his mom?
It's certainly possible.
Wow.
Trauma manifests in different ways.
Right.
And for someone like Red,
Yeah.
who already carries the weight of expectation as a champion,
Uh-huh.
retreating from the world might be a way to cope with those unseen scars.
Wow, that adds a whole new layer to his post-game isolation. He's not just training on that mountain.
Yeah.
Maybe he's seeking refuge.
Yeah.
It's like heroic on the outside, but hurting on the inside.
Yeah.
Man, that's heavy.
I know, right?
And it makes me think about how differently his story gets told
Yeah.
compared to, say, Ash from the anime. It's wild to think how different Red's story could have been if someone had slapped a microphone on him, right?
Right.
Like, imagine him going full on Ash Ketchum,
Yeah.
shouting his feelings from the top of Mount Silver.
It raises a fascinating question about how different mediums shape a hero's journey.
Right.
In a visual medium like anime,
Yeah.
where dialogue and emotional expression are key,
Right.
a character like Ash thrives.
Yeah.
But in a game where you're shaping the story through your choices,
Right.
Red's silence allows for a different kind of connection. It's like you're the one battling, you're the one connecting with your Pokemon.
Right.
So Red's silence becomes your silence, in a way.
Precisely.
Right.
And this difference in portrayal extends to the themes each medium explores.
Right.
The anime emphasizes Ash's growth through camaraderie and competition.
Uh-huh.
Red's story, however, is told through these fragments, these glimpses into a life dedicated to mastery
Right.
and the potential isolation that comes with it.
And it makes you wonder,
Yeah.
what does that say about us as fans?
Right.
Do we gravitate towards certain types of heroes depending on the medium?
Yeah.
Like, are we okay with a brooding, silent protagonist in a game, but need someone more expressive in a show?
It's certainly something to consider.
Yeah.
Perhaps it reflects our own desire for connection.
In a game, we find that connection through gameplay and interaction.
Okay.
But in a more passive medium like television, we crave characters who verbalize their emotions, who mirror our own experiences back to us.
That's a really interesting point.
Yeah.
And it makes me appreciate the source material even more.
Right.
Knowing that Red's silence isn't just a technical limitation,
Right.
but a deliberate choice that adds to his mystique.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It invites us to fill in the blanks.
Right?
To imagine the thoughts and emotions hidden beneath the surface. And it makes those few instances where the text does hint at his inner world
Right.
all the more impactful.
Speaking of impactful, there's that whole part where they compare Red's team to Ash's.
Yeah.
Is that just a fun Easter egg for fans, or do you think there's something more to it?
I'm inclined to believe it's more than just a coincidence.
Okay.
Remember, Red exists across multiple games, each with its own interpretation of his story,
Right.
by aligning his team with Ash's,
Okay.
even partially.
Right.
The creators acknowledge the anime's influence on the character's legacy.
So it's like they're bridging the gap between these different versions of Red,
Yeah.
acknowledging the fans who love both the games and the show.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
a subtle nod to the interconnected nature of storytelling in the Pokemon world.
Right.
And it speaks to the power of fandom in shaping a character's identity.
It's like how everyone has their own headcanon about what Red's voice sounds like,
Right.
even though we've never heard him speak officially.
Right.
And those interpretations, those personal connections,
Yep.
they're just as valid as any canonized detail.
Precisely.
Right.
In a way, those individual interpretations contribute to the richness of Red's character.
Okay.
He becomes more than just a collection of pixels on a screen. He evolves into a shared experience,
Wow.
a canvas onto which fans can project their own hopes and desires.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
Oh, thank you.
And it makes those moments where we do see a little bit of his personality shine through,
Right.
like his determination to become champion,
Uh-huh.
even more meaningful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Those moments become touchstones,
Okay.
glimpses into the heart of a character who is often shrouded in mystery.
Right.
And they remind us that even in silence, even in solitude,
Right.
there's a depth and complexity to Red that continues to fascinate and inspire.
It's like he's this enigma wrapped in a Pokemon trainer's uniform.
Right.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
From rivalries and silent protagonists to the very nature of heroism itself.
Yeah.
But there's one big question looming over all of this.
And what would that be?
What happens next? After years of isolation on Mount Silver,
Yeah.
after defeating every challenger, what does the future hold for Red?
Ah, the million-dollar question.
Right.
And while these excerpts don't offer a definitive answer,
Yeah.
they do provide us with some intriguing clues.
Okay.
It's almost as if they're inviting us to imagine
Right.
what might come next for the silent champion.
So what you're saying is, it's up to us to write the next chapter of Red's story.
In a way, yes.
Wow.
The beauty of a character like Red, with his mysterious past and uncertain future,
Right.
is that he continues to exist in the spaces between what we know and what we can imagine.
This is getting pretty existential for a Pokemon discussion.
I know, right?
But I'm here for it.
I can tell.
What kind of future do you see for Red?
Okay.
What could possibly tempt a guy who's already conquered it all to step back into the world? Seriously, what could tempt a guy who's already at the top of the mountain, so to speak?
That's the question, isn't it? And I think
Yeah.
the answer might lie in those glimpses of vulnerability we've seen.
Well,
His isolation, his silence.
right.
They hint at a foal that's still searching for something.
Okay, so he's not just some stoic, unbeatable Pokemon master.
Right.
He's got layers.
Yeah.
But if Becoming champion didn't fulfill him. What could?
Maybe it's not about achieving something more,
Okay.
but about using what he's learned
Right.
to guide others.
Okay.
Remember those excerpts about how much his mother worries?
Yeah, yeah.
Imagine Red realizing that
Yeah.
true strength isn't isolation, but reconnecting with the people he's pushed away.
Whoa. So he walks off Mount Silver not as a conquering hero,
Right,
but as a changed person.
right.
Maybe he even tries to make amends for pushing everyone away,
Yeah,
especially his mom.
exactly.
Ah.
He could become a mentor,
Right.
sharing his knowledge with aspiring trainers.
Okay.
Maybe even challenging the very notion of what it means to be a Pokemon master.
Right.
It wouldn't be about winning, but about nurturing a new generation of trainers who understand that true
Yeah.
strength comes from connection, not isolation.
Man, that's a storyline I'd love to see play out.
Right.
But you know, another part of me wonders
Yeah.
if the call to adventure might still tug at him.
Sure.
He's conquered one region,
Yeah.
but there are whole other worlds out there
Right.
with their own challenges,
Yeah,
right?
that is a tantalizing thought.
Right.
Picture Red stepping off the boat in, say, the Alola region.
Okay.
His trusty Pikachu at his side.
Yeah.
He's not there to conquer, but to learn to grow.
Right.
To experience new ways of battling and connecting with Pokemon.
I could already see the fan art.
Me too.
And it fits with what we talked about earlier
Uh-huh.
about how different mediums portray heroes.
Yeah.
Maybe Red's story in a new region could be more like Ash's,
Yeah.
full of camaraderie and personal growth.
Right.
But with that underlying air of mystery that makes him so intriguing.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It would be a chance for him to redefine what it means to be a champion.
right.
Not through strength alone,
Uh-huh.
but through empathy, understanding, and a willingness to embrace new experiences.
Wow, this whole deep dive has really changed how I see Red.
Yeah.
He's gone from this silent, almost untouchable figure
Right.
to a character with real depth and potential.
Right.
Like, the more we uncover, the more fascinating he becomes.
And isn't that the beauty of a well-crafted character?
Yeah.
They stay with you long after the credits roll,
Right.
sparking your imagination and inviting you to fill in the blanks.
You know what? You've given me a lot to think about. What about you, dear listener? What kind of future do you envision for Red? Head over to our social media and let us know your theories. It's been a wild ride exploring the enigma of Red. Until next time, keep training those critical thinking skills and stay curious, trainers.